Again, I think we don't want to sound like broken records up here, but there's going to be time where questions like that can be answered. For now, like I was saying a minute ago, there's a lot of things you can sit here and talk about, but for the three of us and the other players trying to make this team, our focus is on our job on the ice and focusing on that. And like John and everyone else said earlier, there'll come a time where we can answer questions like that. So respectfully, for now, I cannot. So.
On the left.
Jeremy Ross, CBS 2, question for all of you. Patrick was up here. He read an apology and included to his team, to his teammates. Has he apologized directly to any one of you? If so, any words you'd like to share with us?
I think, of course, to a certain degree, nobody wanted this, but, you know, again, we don't want to get into those details right now. And I'm sure at a later date, some questions like that, other details will surface, and they'll be dealt with at another time. So right now, the three of us are still going to focus on hockey, focus on those questions that are relevant to us and our team right now.
If you guys have any hockey questions, we can take just a couple more here. Go ahead, Siafa.
Siafa Lewis, NBC5 Chicago. Gentlemen, this is for any of the three of you. In light of all the new faces that are on this roster, do you believe that Patrick can still be a leader on this team?
Say that again.
In light of all the new faces on this roster, do you believe Patrick Haynes can still be a leader on this team?
I think so.
Chris, go ahead.
For Brent Seabrook, Chris Cook of the Chicago Tribune. Brent, you've been given the A as an alternate captain. You have only a year left, I think, on your contract. Is this a sign that you think you'll be around for much longer? And are you working on a contract right now?
I don't know what it's a sign of. I'm excited. I'm very honored to be part of the group up here and to wear a letter for the Chicago Blackhawks. I've had some talks with Stan, my agent and I. So I don't know. That's sort of it.
Go ahead, Mark.
Jonathan, Mark Potash from the Sun-Times. Without any regard at all to Patrick Kane's situation, how important is the image of this organization to you?
Well, of course, it's very important. You know, since the beginning of my career, and I could probably comment for the other two guys sitting here with me right now, we've always talked about how special it is to play for the Blackhawks and play for the history that this club brings. We always have the chance to you know, hang out and talk to the great players like Stan Mikita and Bobby Hull and Dennis Sorin. You go down the list of the guys who've really created the culture of this game and created the culture of this organization and what it means to be a Blackhawk and play in this city. And it's something we've always taken seriously. And of course, there's that reputation there.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah, this is for Jonathan. Jonathan, dealing with the salary cap is now a part of winning. You know, even when you win and trying to hold the team together, it's tricky business to try to do that. You guys have been through it before, and each time when you've changed the roster a little bit, when you looked at it, it looked like, you know, it was going to be hard for you to repeat. This time, Stan Bowman's done it again, but it almost looked like it was targeted. You know, there were guys who were coming in. When you looked at what happened this summer, do you feel like you have essentially the same chance of winning as you had last time?
Well, we got to believe at the end of the day that what happens in that regards, you know, as far as players is to a certain degree out of our control, and we're going to focus on, like Steve and Duncan were saying, the new challenges that are going to come our way this year that we're eager to tackle. You know, obviously, it's really difficult to see where things are going to go from one season to the next, considering the cap, and it's always a very difficult thing for management to continue to set up a team to have success and be consistent and have the same faces from year to year. So that's a difficult task to do, and obviously no one out there wants to help our organization in that regards, but it is what it is, and as players, we're going to come in ready to, like I said, tackle those new challenges and find ways to continue to have that success the way we've had in the last number of years.
Got 3 more here. Scott, go ahead.
Jonathan, Scott Powers, the ESPN. Considering all the distractions, and this certainly probably isn't going to go anytime soon, how cognizant or important, or what can you do to make maybe Patrick Kane feel like it's normal here and just stick to on-ice activity?
Well, as he commented earlier, I think he's excited to be here and to be back on the ice and be around his teammates and be in a familiar environment where that's what he can do. He can focus on his job, and I think the rest of us want to do the same. So that's kind of what we're here to do this weekend, and I'm looking forward to getting things started.
Jonathan, Brian Hedger, NHL.com. We've heard and read a lot about some of these new faces that we're talking about. They're going to be in camp this year. How excited are you to see some of these guys on the ice, like Dano and Panera and Anisimov, those kind of guys?
Well, it'll be a lot of fun. I think at a certain point, the integration and just making those guys feel comfortable within the locker room will take place later on. But it's always fun to come in when you hear some hype about young players. I think the last couple of years it's been Teuvo, and this year you hear about guys like Panarin and Dano. So it's a lot of fun. I mean, there's so many great young players out there with skill. We're happy to have a good handful of them coming in to help our team this year. And I think for the 3 of us, it's about making those guys comfortable and making them feel like they can go out there and play their game and really make things happen for our team.
2 more here, Jay, and then Ryan.
Jay Cohen, Associated Press. For Duncan or Brent, after all the minutes you guys logged last year in the playoffs, did you alter your off-season routine at all, and did it feel any differently? Did it take more of a toll on you when you got back to work and preparing for the season?
You want to start?
Yeah, I didn't do anything differently. Playing those kind of minutes, you sort of get into a mode and into the zone almost. I had a kid 4 days after it, so I was still in that mode and still going strong for the next week or so. So it was, and all summer for that matter. But it was a fun summer. It was a great summer. I think I got the rest I needed, and my wife was great. She helped out with the kids, and I was able to get ready for the season. So it was a good summer. I got some rest. I got some work in, and I'm ready to go. So.
Yeah, I didn't change anything either. I think every off season you kind of try to feel out how your body feels, and obviously this year was a long year. Last year was a long year, and a lot of guys played a lot of minutes. So I think you try to listen to your body as best you can, and understand that it needs some rest. And there's a fine line between waiting around too long and getting the rest before not getting back in the gym and staying in shape. And I personally find it's easier to take some time off and get back in the gym, and rather than get out of shape, it's easier just to try and keep somewhat in good shape, and so a little bit harder to get in shape than it is to stay in shape.
Take the last one here, Ryan.
You 3 have been through the quote-unquote rebuild after 2010, defending in 2013. Now this short off season, players coming and going, but in light of the developments of the last month and a half, is this the biggest challenge you're facing in defending your title, coming back to camp with everything that's transpired this summer?
I don't know. I mean, I think whenever something comes your way and it seems like a difficult situation, you always look at the big picture and remind yourself that at some point it's going to pass and it'll be dealt with. So, that's the way we look at it right now. We know that there's going to be adjustments. As everyone's been saying, we're not going to get any easy games this year. There's going to be some adjustments for our young guys, and there's going to be moments where, whether it's the minutes or the games or the short off season or whatever you want to talk about, it's going to get tough. But I think the one thing that is common for this year and in previous years where we come in trying to defend our title is that there are going to be those tough stretches, and I think the experience that we have in that regards, we can always remind ourselves to look at that big picture and know that we just got to manage those tough games and hang in there and not let it build into something that's worse than it is. So I think we're excited to play hockey. We know that we have a great opportunity, and like Steve said too, our number one goal is to get back to the playoffs. And I think at that point, we believe that we'll always have what it takes to find ways to have success there.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That concludes
Thank you.
today's press
Thanks.
conference. Thank you for coming. We look forward to seeing you guys throughout the weekend. Either way, doesn't matter. Either way.